We just got a brand new update for several tracks that are going to be featured in NASCAR 25, and we are checking them out here today as iRacing just put out their Season 4 update, overhauling several NASCAR tracks on the schedule and adding some new tracks as well that we're going to be checking out here today. And why is this important? Well, it's because it was already confirmed by iRacing themselves that all these updates that they're doing to these tracks are going to be in NASCAR 25. So the exact model and assets that we're seeing here on track around us is going to be the exact same thing that we see represented in NASCAR 25. And that's why we got laser scan tracks in NASCAR 25, because they're laser scanned right here in iRacing. And we're here making laps around Gateway. We're going to be doing a lap around every track, just kind of looking around and seeing how they feel. And Gateway is one of the tracks actually that is going to have a new laser scan actually that they did for this circuit here. And of course just wrapping the curbing in 1 and 2 and just visually kind of taking in these tracks. And Gateway looks phenomenal. I mean, it really is a beautiful racetrack here as we come out of turn 4 and was having a lot of fun. I think it's honestly like the first time I've ever driven this track in a cup car on iRacing. But next up was the brand new Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez Mexico City circuit that of course is brand new to NASCAR this season. This is a fun one now, and we got the actual NASCAR layout as well because it is a little bit different from the Formula 1 layout. We got such a long run down into turn 1. Now, of course, when we're racing in NASCAR 25, you're going to see all the grandstands here filled with fans, and you can as well see it when you're racing in like AI or in an actual official race. And I might do a video of a AI race at this track because I did test it out, and it was pretty well done with the AI, I must say. So, and right here, of course, is where we differ from Formula 1. Instead of going straight, we're going to brake right here under the bridge, and we'll turn to the right and go around this slow hairpin now and just wait on throttle, wait, get on it, and then, of course, we head into the little S's section now. And with a Cup Series car, with how heavy this car is, it's going to be so fun wheeling our car around, 35, 36, other Cup cars in NASCAR 25 and like career mode. I honestly can't wait. As you can see, I make a mistake there, but you can get a really aggressive on the track limits here at this circuit now. And of course, what's going to be really cool in NASCAR 25 is coming up right here into this right-hander through the grandstand section. I just can't wait to be battling with drivers and trying to beat Shane Van Gisbergen, and then coming through like this iconic section right here with all the fans around you and going through in between the grandstands. Of course, it's so cool. And yeah, I mean, by far one of the most anticipated tracks for me going into NASCAR 25. I mean, that was awesome, and that was the lap around the brand new Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. So yeah, that's exactly what it's going to look like in NASCAR 25, and as well a new version of Charlotte Motor Speedway for NASCAR 25 has did a overhaul here, and as well the new Charlotte Roval that we had last year and as well will be this year in the Cup Series has also been redone for iRacing, and I was hoping that would be the case because now we know we'll have the updated Roval for NASCAR 25 as well. A lap around the Charlotte Oval, and I mean, overall to me not a lot really actually looked different from what I've seen in the past. The inside walls, the outside wall, everything kind of looks the same here as we head down this back straightaway. Absolutely ripping here as we head down this back stretch into turn number 3 and towards turn number 4. And yeah, I didn't really know what they had really changed in terms of Charlotte outside of maybe the restart zone. Was, the branding is now like Echo Park and like the NASCAR Cup Series stuff, but that was pretty well it that I noticed. And now we head in to the Charlotte Roval. This one's interesting, and there is something really unique and challenging about this circuit that I never really realized when watching this new configuration on TV. And this is going to be really interesting in NASCAR 25 because, and I'm going to wait and let you guys see for yourselves here, but we rolled through turn 1 and 2, and I mean, overall, I mean, of course, the first part of this circuit here is all the same, new branding in there with the Bank of America bridge, but as we come through the double right-handers, this is where things get intriguing. So, of course, now with the new configuration, we go for the kind of little right bend, and then we kind of go straight. So, instead of going for this right-hander right here, no, we go straight. Look, you can't even see the next corner. That's the unique part. So, you can't even see. It's a blind corner. That is going to be so tricky in NASCAR 25 and racing single player, racing multiplayer as well. And then you go into this heavy hairpin. I mean, so hard on the brakes. Got to be right there. That is really going to be chaos in NASCAR 25. in any mode, but specifically multiplayer. Imagine what we have a packed 35, 40 player lobby going through there in a blind corner, and then you have to get through the blind corner and go into the heavy braking hairpin. That is going to be full-blown chaos right there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we're all able to kind of navigate it there as we now come through Oval 3 and 4. And once you've gotten to this part of the racetrack, of course, nothing's really changed in terms of overhauls, but we'll head down into this final chicane here and complete this lap here. And while I say complete the lap, I'm actually going to wreck myself. Yeah, that was awesome. Nonetheless, let's move on to the next redone track for NASCAR 25, North Wilkesboro. This one looks pretty slick, actually. Just one thing I really like is actually they got the old school leaderboard over there in turn 3. You can see it in the background right there, and it was just looking forward to kind of getting on track for this one. You got the Echo Park branding there and like the restart zones and whatnot. I know they've been doing some restart zone stuff this season, and yeah, overall just a nice kind of up-to-date, fresh look for NASCAR 25, and just one tidbit that comes into my mind is I'm hopeful that in future NASCAR games we continue to receive track branding updates in NASCAR 26, NASCAR 27 every year, because little things change every year, from stuff on the walls to billboards or whatever it might be. And as those are getting updated, I do hope we see those updates represented in the games. That just kind of keeps them live, but pretty straightforward there. Now we jump into Sonoma, which has been completely rescanned and redone. And this is going to be an interesting one as well in NASCAR 25. Keep in mind, of course, new pavement. This is a repaved circuit, so it's a brand new experience, it feels like, here in the iRacing side of things now. And I wonder how slippery it might be, say in like NASCAR 25. I'd imagine it's probably going to be pretty straightforward, and you're going to have a lot of grip, but I mean, grip was a big struggle in real life. Now look at this runoff here. You got a lot more of a forgiving runoff right here in turn 4. You can really push way wide and just get hard on the throttle, and yeah, I mean, there's not really much of a consequence there, as I'm going to miss this right hand to slip and slide. We save it, thank goodness, but completely ruined my lap right there. But the real biggest change of this track being updated for NASCAR 25 is actually the final hairpin of the corner, because you guys remember a few years ago, they, instead of having those tire barriers, which were just like stacked tires or whatever, they now have just an actual wall around the inside, and you're going to see that right here as we head down into the heavy braking zone. Final hairpin, look at this. Now you got that wall there, so you can just put it right on the curb, basically get as close to the wall as you want. Then of course you're going to throttle up hard on exit. Maybe a little bit too hard there for myself there, slipping and sliding around, but to the line we complete a lap around the brand new Sonoma Raceway. So what you're seeing here is we move on to our next track, but you're seeing a good mix of tracks that have been updated here just today from iRacing for NASCAR 25. Now we're at Texas, but we've had short tracks, we've had road courses, we've had brand new track, of course, with Mexico coming in. Now we've got a mile and a half here, and we've had tracks previously already updated for NASCAR 25 a while back. This is just the newest and will be the last batch of tracks, of course, that we're going to have our hands on that have been newly redone and updated for NASCAR 25 before the game actually releases. In Texas, pretty straightforward, but yeah, overall, when you head down into turn 3 and 4 here, this is an interesting one, because there's that bump in Texas, right? You're going to see it visually, you're going to kind of see the car bounce just a little bit right there. I was really curious to see how aggressive that bump would feel, but overall it's pretty manageable. But yeah, I mean, Texas, it looks good, and overall, look at just how wide everything is in 1 and 2 right there. It's such a strange mile and a half circuit, to say the least. But into 3 and 4, I wanted to do 2 laps here, and I wanted to run a little bit higher to see if the bump did anything different. You saw me hit it, didn't really affect the car, and I'm curious to see how that's going to affect us in NASCAR 25 with that bump in 3 and 4 as well. Probably going to be similar to how it feels in iRacing. Watkins Glen, another road course that's been visually overhauled, and you're going to really notice the biggest difference being in the curbing. A lot less worn out, and kind of more saturation and just alive. A lot more colorful, I guess we'll say. And there's one little bit of a difference you're going to notice up towards the bus stop chicane, but as we come up through the S's, of course, the branding, the signs, those are some things that have changed around the circuit, and those are such little things that do a lot for me as a player in iRacing, or which one we'll see this in NASCAR 25. But here in the bus stop chicane, they kind of got it paved on the entrance right here on the right side, so you can get really close to that wall, and then of course you get up over these curbs and get aggressive going into the long sweeping right-hand carousel right here. But like I was saying, I mean, the branding around the tracks being updated, and they look a lot livelier, and maybe that's just me, but I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just the colors, I don't know what it might be, but either way, it really brings up the experience and just livens it up a little bit here with the track looking livelier around you as well. So we come through this final right-hander, and we'll get hard on the throttle, of course, and go into the Go Bowling Bridge right there, coming to the line to complete a lap on the visually overhauled Watkins Glen here, as we'll now move on to the next track. And like I said, we're seeing a great bit of road courses as well updated, but Daytona was also given a visual overall here, so I was very interested to see, you know, what they had changed here in Daytona for NASCAR 25, because the track was already pretty up to date, and overall I wasn't really noticing much here. I mean, as you watch this thrilling full speed lap around the Daytona International Speedway, of course, at about 180 miles per hour. There's not much to it. You look at the billboards there on the right side, maybe some updates there, maybe not 100% sure actually on that one. As yeah, it was, as I was going around the track, I'm just kind of like looking around, and I'm like, I don't really know what it is that they've like visually like redone here from Daytona, because it all looked the same. Honestly, the shadows though around this track and the lighting's great. If this is represented the same way in NASCAR 25, look at the sun coming in. That's awesome. I really hope we get that kind of lighting in NASCAR 25, or maybe even better as we come to the line. And yeah, I mean, that was Daytona. They said visually overhauled. I really couldn't tell you what they changed. So we move on now to the final two tracks that have been changed, and this one's new. Circuit of the Americas, they have now added the official layout that NASCAR used for earlier in the year. So we got confirmation that that updated layout will be in NASCAR 25. You have this really strange right here at the end of the S's, or halfway through the S's, you turn left and you go through this double left-hander right here, and then you get aggressive because you can go right up against that wall on the inside and try to not lose the car. So we'll go for a full speed lap, and this was a track that was so much fun to watch earlier in the season, and I really cannot wait to actually race here against the AI, because I think it's going to have a lot of opportunity for chaos and really make some wild races in your career mode, your championship season, whatever it might be, as we head now into the S's section, of course. And previously NASCAR used to run the full entire long layout, and the races were not that great, and they made this one change where instead of going to the right there through the S's, we go through this left-hander right against the barrier, and it made the race somehow just so much better, as again we get right there against the barrier on the left, hard on the throttle, down the long straightaway, and you're immediately back into braking. So there's a lot of braking, a lot of passing zones here in this new layout. It's just everything they did about this layout was the right move to make, I feel like, now as we head into the back half of the circuit, kind of slipping and sliding around a little bit there as you see me sawing on the wheel to make sure we are not losing the rear into the corner as we head, of course, towards, I wouldn't call it a grandstand section, but I mean kind of that long sweeping right-hander past this grandstand right here under the Echo Park Automotive Bridge now, and then it's pretty well the same old coda from this point on. But yeah, I mean, iRacing doing big updates for these NASCAR 25 tracks right here a month before release of the game, and they all look great, they feel great. Of course, NASCAR 25 is going to feel different than iRacing, so I'm not really gaining an advantage driving these tracks in terms of feel, but if you have iRacing, I recommend trying these layouts right now, because although, like I said, it's not necessarily going to help you with the feel because the game's going to play differently, but it's going to help you by just knowing the track layouts and hitting your marks and stuff like that for NASCAR 25. Don't do this in NASCAR 25. Yes, actually, we're definitely going to do this in NASCAR 25. The last track that's been overhauled, Chicago street course, and this one was just visual. The track surface and everything like that is all the same, but they've done a lot of visual updating to this track. This is the one where I've noticed the most visual updates, and it's mainly the fencing and the signs on the fencing and on the walls as well. And you see the driving access, whatever that is, and it looks like some kind of health thing or something. And as we go down this long straightaway here, and this is where you're going to notice so much. I mean, look at the billboards on the left, on the fencing. This just looks cool. It really gives it that street course feel. Through the Chicago signage, then through the ABB signs. I mean, awesome stuff right there. And then I'm going to very lightly scrape the wall. You see the little tower there on the left side there, like one of the TV crew spots, and then more branding. It just properly feels like a street course with all the billboards and signs around now. And when you're ripping around here with all the cup cars in NASCAR 25, it's once again just going to make everything feel just more alive. And that's what I've been kind of preaching a lot in this video, is how much more alive they've made some of these tracks feel with these updates. So awesome, honestly awesome job, iRacing. And I'm going to be maybe doing a video checking out. They have changed some AI. Maybe it's going to be closer to what we're going to get in NASCAR 25's AI, so I might be checking that out for a separate video soon, especially as some of these road courses and even the oval AI has been redone a bit. So I think we'll be checking that out as well before NASCAR 25 comes out. Through the Arby's section, into the final right-hander, under the sign for Arby's with the big burger. And that's going to do it. We've checked out all the new and updated tracks for NASCAR 25, and let me know down below which one was your favorite, and I cannot wait to play these in the game itself, but it's awesome to get an early look here in iRacing. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.